Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday afternoon, President Trump made one of the biggest presidential power plays of all time. And of course, the radical progressive establishment is already scrambling to try to stop him. You see, yesterday, President Trump officially invoked the Alien Enemies Act, a law dating back to 1798, originally passed by our nation's founding fathers. And now, in 2025, President Trump is using this act to deploy the U.S. military to assist in the apprehension, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants and violent cartel gang members. Folks, I can't express this enough. This is massive. As you all know, for decades, we've had a revolving door immigration system where illegals flood in, commit crimes, and then, if we're lucky, they're deported after years of legal nonsense. But with this act, Trump is skipping the bureaucracy and restoring order immediately. But of course, President Trump can't do anything without some corrupt, progressive activist judge getting in the way and trying to stop him, which is exactly what's happening right now. You see, just hours after President Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act, an Obama-appointed federal judge stepped in and blocked him, ruling that any illegal immigrant or cartel gang member deported under the act must be brought back into the U.S. and released. Yes, you heard that correctly. A sitting U.S. federal judge just got in the way and ordered that violent criminals, gang members, and illegal aliens be returned back to the country and set free. Now, this federal judge, a guy named James Boasberg, has made the radical decision that he, an unelected official, gets the final say over what happens to this country, not the democratically elected president of the United States. Folks, this right here is the definition of deep state. This is exactly what we mean when we talk about the subversion of democracy. These corrupt bureaucrats do not care about the will of the American people, and when they lose in a free and fair election, they just shut down the president's agenda through legal warfare. And you know what? Make no mistake, this is not about legality. Boasberg is not ruling based on the U.S. Constitution. He is blatantly, clearly abusing his position of power to try to get in the way and shut down President Trump's America First agenda. But you know what? Here's what makes it even worse. By blocking the Alien Enemies Act, Judge Boasberg is actively putting American lives at risk. He is literally ordering that illegal immigrants and violent cartel gang members be brought back into the country. Folks, this isn't just run-of-the-mill Democrat incompetence. No, this is malicious, calculated sabotage that puts American lives at risk. And yet, on top of all of this, the left wants us to believe that it's President Trump who's the problem. Now, Elon Musk actually had some thoughts about this, and I want you guys to take a listen to that. But first, I want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news coverage, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. But okay, take a listen to what Elon Musk has to say.
And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
You hear that, folks? That is exactly what these radical progressives want. They don't want democracy. They want bureaucracy. Why? Because they know that they can't control democracy. They know that they can't win free and fair elections when their only platform is open borders, gender studies, and higher taxes. So instead, what do? They'd rather hand power over to unelected bureaucrats who are accountable to no one. That is the true final dream of the radical left. They don't want representative democracy because they know that when the people are given a choice, the people reject them every single time. And you know what? While we're talking about the Democrats' true secret plan, gutting democracy, I've got another clip I want you guys to take a look at. Let it play.
And regarding Elon and the bureaucracy, if I just may respond to something you said about the bureaucracy, there seems to be, when Republicans are president, that this idea that the bureaucracy and the government should not be responsive to the political leadership of the executive branch. That is totally false. It has nothing to do with a loyalty test, but it does have to do with whether or not the unelected bureaucracy is responsive to the political oversight of the government. And Democrats right now do not seem to believe that the president should be able to be the president. We have elections for a reason in this country. We vest all executive authority in a president of the United States, not in an unelected bureaucracy, not in independent agencies, but in a president. The president's agenda matters. When a Republican is president, the bureaucracy resists. It has to stop.
That sounds more like a king. It does not sound like
Sounds like our
president of the
Constitution
United
to me.
Did you guys catch that? This woman just made the argument that President Trump is more like a king because he refuses to let a bunch of unelected partisan judges run the country. Now, call me crazy, but I seem to remember Trump being elected by the people in a colossal landslide, by the way. And last time I checked, that's called democracy. But you know what? You know who wasn't elected? This Obama-appointed judge who's trying to sabotage President Trump's democratically elected agenda. Folks, this is just pure, progressive, unfiltered hypocrisy. These left-wing activists in robes are not protecting democracy, they're subverting it, and yet they have the nerve to accuse Trump of being a dictator. Folks, I don't even think that these radical progressives are intelligent enough to realize how hypocritical and contradictory they sound to the rest of us. Either that, or they just don't care. But you know what, folks? Here's the good news. This Obama-appointed federal judge's ruling is not going to stick. There is absolutely zero doubt in the world that President Trump has the full legal as well as constitutional authority to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. So even though this federal judge's ruling is more of a speed bump than anything else, there's still an important lesson to be extracted here. Right now, these radical left Democrats are so desperate, so unhinged, that they're willing to abuse every single ounce of power that they have just to mildly inconvenience Trump. They're not even stopping him. But you know what, folks? This also highlights one of the very real and serious problems that we have with our governmental system. Even when a federal judge blatantly and clearly abuses their power like this, it's almost impossible to remove them. To get rid of a federal judge, you need 218 House representatives and a whopping 67 senators to vote for their removal, and that has only happened 15 times in the entirety of U.S. history. So what that means is that even though this particular ruling from this particular activist progressive judge isn't going to hold up, Trump is still going to have to keep on dealing with all of these radical leftist federal judges. But so folks, here's the bottom line. Trump has, in fact, invoked the Alien Enemies Act. The process is moving forward, and these deep state representatives can keep on having tantrums and kicking their feet up in the air. But guess what? America First is back on the menu. Now, before we wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this stuff. So if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But folks, that is going to be a wrap for this one. So please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this stuff. Please like the video while you're down there. Like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. And of course, as always, stay safe.